calls for the grace period for driver's license renewals to be extended. Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula announced yesterday that the deadline for renewals will not be extended beyond the end of this month. The deadline comes amid a backlog of 500,000 license cards waiting to be printed. Talk to us more about this. I'm joined now by Lawrence Venkile, the Department of Transport Special Advisor, as well as Automobile Association spokesperson Leighton Beard. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time. Leighton, let me start with you. The Transport Minister, very clear, is warning drivers to say you've got to renew now because the grace period will not be extended when it expires on the 31st of March. The minister believes that the country is able to deal with the 500,000 backlog. It has capacity to address the shortfall and that the slots are available to book for renewals. Do you beg to differ?
Yeah, I think being able to do something and actually doing it are two different things. We are hearing very many mixed reviews in terms of the experiences that people are having to renew their licenses. Just today we heard of people who had made bookings and arrived at driving license testing centres and were told to turn around. Systems were offline. There were problems with resources in the actual DLTC. There were other instances where people did go to, for instance, the DLTC at Waterfall Park in Midrand and in Centurion and had amazing experiences. Unfortunately, not everybody can get to those state-of-the-art facilities. It's not convenient for them. Many people have taken a day's leave to go do this very important chore, and they haven't been successful. Now they've got to take another day, and at some point people are just really going to give up. So I think that it's great that we are able to produce as many cards as the minister says we are. I think the enabling environment to get to that point where everybody is assisted is part of the problem, and we are still experiencing very many people who have that issue, and for that reason we think that it's important that the deadline is extended. We must applaud the Department of Transport for doing what it has done, but we think there's more that needs to be done, and that needs to be done within the framework of creating an environment where it's easy for people to get these documents. It isn't at the moment, and for that reason, the deadline does need to be extended in our view.
Yeah. Dr. Venkile, the people are not simply skeptical of the administration's capacity, but they are having real time challenges with the system. People, as we speak right now, who are being failed by the system. Did this decision by the minister hinge on the efficiency of the Water Park Centurion DLTC, or did he look at overall how the driving license testing centers are performing?
Thabo, thank you very much. The minister looked at all the factors. Indeed, there have been challenges at various DLTCs across the country, including on the online system, which are being managed and are being resolved. And we're monitoring the situation literally on a day-to-day basis. In fact, if we look at the numbers alone, because you see, we can't simply say the production of the cards is divorced from the ability to clear the backlog. You must remember, Thabo, that there is a reprieve for those who apply to renew their licenses in terms of the law. If the deadline comes and you have not yet received your card while you have applied, that receipt in terms of the law, you have a 3-month reprieve. Now, just to give you the numbers, Thabo, to demonstrate that we are addressing successfully the backlog. You'll remember that on the 1st of February, we had a backlog of 597,492 applications that were in the system. But to date, we have produced 407,721 cards. Now, the manner in which we are addressing the backlog is that we're using a system of first in, first out. So those applications, those who have applied to renew by the 1st of February, would have cleared that backlog. But also the issue of the challenges in the various DLTCs. We also know that in Gauteng you had a number of DLTCs that were closed. Working with the RTMC, We have been monitoring the situation, but also resolving the challenges online. Over the last 2 days alone, we've had 16,000 renewal applications on the online platform. But also today, for example, all the DLTCs in Gauteng have been operating except for Temba and Sentin. Indeed, there are challenges, but we have adequate mitigating measures to ensure that no motorist is left stranded once the deadline comes and goes. Because those who would still be waiting for their cards, there's a 3-month window, but those who wait until their cards expire would have to apply for a temporary driving license. We are addressing the challenges, and we do acknowledge that there are challenges at the LTC level. That is why the minister is meeting with the NECs. They are consistently monitoring the situation, resolving the challenges as they arise. But we do not believe that the challenges that are currently being experienced by motorists would affect them adversely once the deadline of the 31st of March.
What if it does, that Vengile? What if I'm trying to get into the system and I do not actually get into the system, and my driver's license, when I was trying to get on, was still valid, but it will then expire because I have not gotten into the system? Now I'm in a situation where I have to pay to have a temporary one, when I actually would have just renewed mine and got one there and there and only have to make one payment. People really don't have a lot of disposable cash to be able to do these things.
That is true, Thabo, but that is precisely why the RTMC is resolving the challenges, including the challenges relating to the call center and the email, such that you do not arrive at that situation where you go to a DLTC, you are not assisted, or you attempt to renew online, you experience challenges. The responsiveness of the call center is something that is under the spotlight that we are currently resolving with the RTMC. They have been busy throughout the day, over the last couple of days, resolving all those challenges. That is why, over and above even the call center, that we said provide an SMS line and an email line, because not everybody even has the resources to call a call center. So those issues are being resolved and are being monitored literally on a day-to-day basis, because we believe that these are challenges that can be resolved, because the motorist requires assistance such that they do not get to the point where they get frustrated and abandon the process and end up having to pay a lot of money.
So, Leighton, these are challenges that are being addressed real time, on a day-to-day basis. This is what we're being told by the department. Things like the SMS line, things like the call center being addressed real time. But also the sense that there is this reprieve that if you've got the receipt, you can still produce that 3 months later if you don't have your card.
Yeah, quite frankly, it's not good enough. I mean, we're at a situation now where we're still talking about challenges in the systems and challenges at the DLTCs. It's less than 2 weeks or 3 weeks to go before the deadline comes. These challenges should have been sorted out a long time ago. Why are we having to deal with them on an ongoing daily basis now is beyond us. We're in a situation where I think the experiences of many thousands of people is being trivialized and diminished by the Department of Transport, where they say, people may have had problems getting online and they may have had problems in the queues. Well, these are people who have taken a day's leave to get into that queue. These are people who have taken time and money to get to where they are and then are told that they can't be serviced or that their appointments can't be honored. They're not going to do that again. They're not going to bash their head against the wall a second time. Maybe they do. A third time, certainly not. And I think it's a little disingenuous to say that people won't, people will do this or people will do that. We know that people will try once or twice. The system needs to facilitate the ease of delivery of these cards. We have said it for many, many years. We've said for very many years the system cannot be repaired. It needs to be ripped out and replaced. We've been very vocal on that very issue. We're coming to a point where we're at the 11th hour, and we're talking about the challenges that we're facing in terms of dealing with the issuing of these renewals. It's not good enough. I think the public deserves a lot better, and they deserve a lot better than discussion around what is being done 3 weeks before the deadline arrives. I think people would like to see what has been done and that the system works for them. The fact that we have an online system that doesn't work, we have a call center that is unresponsive, these are not issues you want to deal with on the 10th of March when the deadline is 21 days away. These are issues that you want to deal with in January the year before, so that the system is geared to deal with them and that people know that if they want to, they can get these documents. We agree. People mustn't wait until the last minute to have these documents processed. But whenever they do have them processed, or whenever it's convenient for them to do it, the system must make allowance and do it for them. Currently, it's working against them.
Yeah. There are, of course, Tatu Venkile, let me not speak for you because we did have this conversation before, but you can talk to us about this as well, that there are plans of renewing the system. I suppose this process right now of dealing with the backlog is actually the process of phasing out these current driver's license cards where you hope to introduce a new system. Will that system be faster and better and, as Leighton puts it, make it more easy to deliver these cards to the drivers?
Absolutely, Thabo. There's two elements to it, and they're quite advanced. It's rather disingenuous to suggest that you must throw the baby with the bathwater. On the one side, there's the progress that we're making in relation to the card part. But I want to talk to the experience of the end use of the motorists in relation to the processes. For example, one of the areas that we've said we are doing, which we are very close to, is that we are reducing the number of queues that you have to stand in when you go to the GLTC. One of those already, through the partnership with the First National Bank, you are able to pay online. And Clayton is disingenuous to say the online system is not working. I have just indicated 16,000 bookings have been...
All right, we seem to have lost Lawrence Venkile there. We'll get him back online. He's from the Department of Transport. There's a special advisor to the Minister of the Department of Transport. Leighton stays on. Let's hear your experience as well. If you have recently applied online, maybe you're part of the 16,000 or maybe not part of the 16,000 that were successful in that application, do let us know. 072-110-5584. Otherwise, you can tweet us at Newzroom 405. In Focus continues in a moment. We're live tonight in conversation with Lawrence Venkile from the Department of Transport and AA's spokesperson Leighton Beard. The issue is around the renewal deadline, which is looming. The minister very clear that it will not be extended. There have been calls from outside and various other organizations, even some court challenges possibly pending to say the minister needs to extend the deadline. Tatu Venkile, before we got cut off, you were explaining the kind of progress that you are saying you've already made, including the 16,000 you're saying have been successful online.
Yes, I was saying that there's already quite a number of interventions. One of those, I think I'd mentioned that you are now able to pay online so that you don't have to stand on an additional queue. And secondly, there's a number of DLTCs across the country that have already extended their operating hours. This is not just about Midrand and Centurion, but already a number of provinces have extended working hours. Because you know, in the past, you used to close at 15:30. But already also we're quite advanced with the agreement with the Health Professions Council to allow you to go to your own private optometrist that would be able to upload your test results instead of you having to go and do the test result at the center. But also earlier in the last year, the minister had announced that RTMs would also be rolling out mobile kiosks that would also be assisting motorists in a number of areas, and particularly also in the rural areas. So it's rather disingenuous for us to suggest that the entire system is not working. Yeah. And I've demonstrated the numbers that by the end of this month, we would have cleared the backlog that we would have had on the 1st of February, which means that those new applicants would have applied even on the 25th of March. They would have that 3 months reprieve because that 3 months, that receipt and that expired card will ensure that over the next 3 months, you would be able to continue to drive without being prosecuted. Yeah. But also over and above that, as we overhaul the system and introducing a single seamless value chain, what that means is that we are getting to a situation that's similar to your ID card, where you only go to your DLTC for your biometrics, and the standard that we've established at Midrand and in Centurion is a standard that we intend to replicate across the country. Yeah. And then once the RTMC has concluded agreements with the various provinces, they will set up similar centers. Gauteng has already expanded the footprint by allowing Gautrain stations centers where you can also go and renew your license.
Yeah.
So this is not just about Midrand and Centurion, but the provinces. We've seen a very high number, particularly in provinces like KwaZulu-Natal and Western Cape, in the online transactions. So we should, and the numbers do not lie.
Yeah.
The numbers demonstrate that those that are in the system, we will be able to clear that backlog within the time frame that the minister has announced. The DLCA is working round the clock. The machine is producing cards 24 hours every day. They are working in shifts such that we are responsive to this need, and we do not want any motorists to find themselves on the wrong side of the law because of something that we had not done on our part. The reason that we're saying that we're resolving the challenge is because you will remember that the DLTCs, they execute a function that straddles the three spheres of government. That is why the minister is saying we must have a single, seamlessly integrated value chain. We've been talking to SALGA, we've been talking to the provinces, and therefore when you as a motorist walk into a DLTC, your experience must be the same as whether you are in Temba or in Fenton. That is what we're implementing. We've already implemented those. I've mentioned quite a number.
That's I want to clear clarity on these interventions. One, the operating hours, that I'm very clear. You're saying in some DLTCs that is already in place as we speak. They are opening a little bit later. The online payment, is that something that you're still negotiating, or is that something that is in place?
No, it is in place. Through the online transfer, we've already collected quite millions of rands as part of that. So when you book online, you are also able to pay. That's rolled out on the 17th of February. The third intervention is the one that the slots. We have centralized the slots. Remember, there was a challenge in Gauteng. If you would go online now, you'd see quite a number of DLTCs, and you'd see the slots in the thousands. I mean, in the thousands in various DLTCs that would allow you to select a day where you want to go and renew that. That challenge and the gatekeeping that we have resolved. So you are able to book your slots now on the online platform.
Now it could be argued, Dr. Venkile, how many people have access to online payment. So it means it won't necessarily reduce the queues at DLTCs, because a large number of people who are not on online banking will still go in queue in those lines, would it not?
That is part of the reason why you still want to assist the motorist through things like mobile kiosks that we are rolling out, through additional areas like your train station that you can walk in instead of doing it online, because not everybody has access to the internet to do an online transactions. So we are bringing this closer to the people through those services and coordinated by the RTMC.
All right. Later, it sounds that there is a move, if you listen to what the Dr. Venkile is saying, towards ease of delivery. I mean, if indeed those kiosks are there, if indeed you have an option of online payment, which would mean you don't have to now stand in a queue to go and pay because you've already paid. If it means you can upload your optometrist tests, you don't have to now go and do an eye test there. It does, in a sense, speak towards ease of delivery. But I suppose the point you're making is that there are still kinks in the system. They should rather give themselves time to sort out the kinks in the system before rushing to put a deadline in place.
Yeah, exactly. And let's just be very clear. You can't upload your eye test just yet. As Mr. Venkile said, they're in the process of finalizing that process. So that's not a reality just yet. Look, I think you're absolutely correct. There's still too many kinks in the system. We are still getting reports from our members and from non-members who are telling us of the problems they've got not only in Gauteng but countrywide. As I said right in the beginning, there's a mixed picture. Some people are saying the system is really good and they're very happy with it. Other people are complaining bitterly that they are not being helped out. The problem that we have, of course, is that it's not consistent throughout the country. We can talk about plans and we can talk about what our intention is going forward. The bottom line at the moment is that there are too many people who are still struggling too hard to get these documents. Our feeling is that there needs to be an extension to make capacity for those people to get their documents. And I guess one of the questions we have to ask is, why can't we extend the deadline? Why can't we push it out by another month or 2 months just to ensure that everybody is covered at the end of the day. What is the rush if we've been waiting until the end of March to do it? We are not suggesting that the public must now take their time in terms of applying for these documents, but as I also said previously, people who have tried and failed are simply going to give up because the system is working against them in too many areas. So when the Department of Transport comes back and says we've done everything and we've implemented everything we can and everything is working according to how we want it to work, not what we intended to work, but that it is working, I think that you'll have a different approach to the deadline at that point.
Yeah. Dr. Venkila, I suppose that's the question for you. I was going to come to that, actually. What is preventing you from giving yourself time to sort out these things and making sure that they are there? Why are you tied to this deadline of the 31st of March?
You must remember, Thabo, that the deadline, the grace only relates to those licenses that expired between the 26th of March 2020 and the 31st of August 2021. Because we can't keep on kicking the can down the road. Because if your license expired after the 31st of August 2021, it is not covered by this grace. And therefore, by continuing to kick the can down the road, you are not assisting the situation. Now, you remember I indicated that one of the things that we are doing is to assist those motorists whose licenses have been in the system, to ensure that they get their cards. The minister will obviously evaluate the situation on the basis of the facts before him, and we do invite the AA and any other stakeholder to really share those experiences and those challenges, so that we are able to resolve them. And the reason that we've brought in the RTMC is because we do not want to speak to each local municipality, but you want to coordinate from the center and ensure that we all, as three spheres of government, take accountability for delivering a DLTC that actually works. So we at this stage we do believe that we are on track to clear that backlog of those licenses that expired between the 26th of March 2020 and the 31st of August. This does not relate to every application for driver's license, because now it means that if you keep on extending the deadline, you'd have people who have licenses that have expired almost 2 years ago. So we want to resolve the challenges and unblock unblock the blockages while we are rolling out the new interventions and the new model, and also establishing more avenues for people to make it easier for them to renew their licenses. As I made an example, like the Gautrain, but in other areas, even in other provinces.
Dr. Venkila, I appreciate your time, and let me thank you very much for joining us tonight. Lawrence Venkile, he speaks there as the advisor from the Department of Transport, and Leighton Beard from the Automobile Association.